Hey everybody, this is Jeremy with ZTV Mag. I'm here with Bobaflex outside the Alrosa Villa, the world famous Alrosa Villa, kind of your home.
It's a nice place. We like it here.
So I appreciate you guys giving me the interview. I wanted to come on and ask you about the new album. I'm sure everybody else has already.
Outstanding.
But the song Forgiven, I've been on kind of like a music lull. I get burned out sometimes, so I've been listening to nothing but podcasts and Joe Rogan and stuff like that.
I understand that.
And so my buddy John Payne played the new CD while we were driving down to Louder Than Life, and I heard it all the way through, and that last song just fucking hit me.
Right on.
So I wanted to ask about that song. What influenced it? That song.
It's about Jesus. um, it was the last song we wrote on the record, right? It was the last song that we wrote on the record. Yeah. I was listening to a lot of Nothing More and was digging that groove on a couple of on their album, and it was just we came to the practice spot and I was like, I got this riff, and we just started out and wrote the whole thing in one day, and everybody like chimed in, and it's my favorite song on the record. It was the fastest song that we wrote on the record, and it's like when we were doing it, we're always not worried about radio singles, but we're always, thinking about, is this going to be a good for a radio single? But, it was a 5-minute song.
Right.
So, like, it's never going to get on radio. Let's just jam out in the middle and have a good time. And it ended up being my favorite song on the record.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of what caught me is a lot of the radio stuff you don't hear so much. Like to me, it brings back Pink Floyd, that bass line. You just don't hear that kind of stuff on the radio, and when I heard it, I was just like, oh, it's awesome.
You'll never hear that song on the radio. It's
Right.
5 minutes. Like, if they had us cut it down for radio, I don't know what I would cut out of it. My favorite part is the big, long Pink Floyd jam in the middle. And
Right.
we did that all live. It was all off the cuff. Dave's solo was off the cuff. Jimmy and Tommy and Dave, and all of us just jammed together and did the whole thing live, like in the same room together. And it has a really cool feel that way.
So the whole album has touches of other influences, and I think that when you hear a new album, one of the best things to do, or for the artist to do, is make it so it's familiar to somebody without having heard it before. You just pick it up and you're like, man, that sounds awesome. What influences were on the record?
I think that kind of happens subconsciously, subliminally or whatever. Your influences come out because we were always like, we got to make this the Bobaflex sound, and that kind of happens anyway too. This album, we locked ourselves in a room. We rented a rehearsal space that we had 24-hour access to. All 5 band members there all day. Get up early in the morning, play all night long, and so the influences came from everywhere. My influences are obviously different than everybody else's, but it was one of those things where Jimmy and Dave had toured with us for. Jimmy had been in the band probably a year,
Something like that.
yeah, about a year. Dave had been with us for about 2-3 years. And it was like, myself, Tommy, and Sean were like, okay, you're in the band now. This is not, hey, Sean and I and Tommy are going to write the songs and you're going to play this and that. We didn't do it that way. We're like, you guys, you've been in the band long enough. It's your album. What do you got? What riffs do you have? And what vocal lines, what ideas do you have? So if that was the kind of thing, it was all 5 band members all on the same page and writing the record. So it was, it's definitely, it goes different places because of Jimmy and Dave's influences are a little different than ours. But, it feels like a cohesive Bobaflex record.
You actually answered my next question. I was gonna ask. This is the first time I've really seen you guys all together since you two have been in. Like,
Where you
been able to.
man?
No, I've seen you play, but this is the first time I've gotten a chance to talk to you guys all together.
Oh, right on.
So I was gonna ask you: is it a Metallica situation? Do you guys have creative input? But yeah, you already answered that for me. So that's awesome, man. And
I mean, I'm a control freak, but still, I am the control freak of the band. But yeah, it was really cool to write a record that way and feel like a band again, and everybody showing up sober and got all their, everybody's got their shit together, and it was a lot of fun making this record. It happened really fast.
Hell yeah. So, one of the other questions I wanted to ask you is, a lot of people talk about what Bobaflex is doing now, but I know you guys have had a long road to get to where you are today, and you guys are really starting to hit. I mean, you guys have been hitting for a while, but people on the West Coast, my friends out on the West Coast are talking about you. And it's awesome that it's not just Columbus. Columbus is a little bubble,
Right.
and people outside of the bubble are talking about you. So that's awesome. But can you say anything about the work that it took to get here?
Yeah, like we were on TBT Records for a while, and we thought this was going to be great. And it was before the 360 deals and all that stuff. It was an old school record deal, and we thought it was a great thing. And they went bankrupt and kind of broke our hearts. And we had a couple other record labels, big record labels, come through and offer deals. And now this new 360 thing is like, I mean, it's hard to make any money doing that stuff. So, and with the experience that we had with TBT going bankrupt, we thought, anybody could go bankrupt. The music industry's changing so fast. So we decided to stay independent, and we just tour, beat the street as hard as we can. You know what I mean? We've learned a lot at radio and got a lot of friends now that are program directors and DJs and stuff. So our single's doing really well at radio, and we just kind of learned things over the years. And being on a record label, we pretty much stole all their ideas and like watched exactly what they were doing and met the people that they were hiring and kept in contact with them and kept good relationships. And being independent, it's rough because you do all the work, but you get to keep all the money. You don't have to split it with anybody.
Right.
I mean, we do our videos, we do everything on our own, booking everything, and it's just like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of late nights on the iPhone and calling everybody and sending emails and stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, we get to keep all the money from everything. Nobody touches our cash, which is important, and it allows us to be able to continue to do this. If we were on a record label, we might be getting way more exposure, but it's hard to make money that way when they're at your merch, they're at your show pay, they're at everything. And it's just like, unfortunately, it's the way the music industry had to change, right, because of downloads and streaming and all that stuff. But so we kind of, kicked it old school and kept all the cash.
Take the money and run.
Yeah.
It's working out for you. I mean,
the band's getting bigger every day, and it's, there's no MTV anymore, and there's no anything like that, and radio.
Is there anybody that plays music anymore?
No, not really.
Except for the music channels, like.
I heard that Palladio is going to turn into MTV Live, and they're going to start playing videos again. That would be awesome. Palladio is a killer channel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't get it anymore now that I don't have Time Warner, but.
Time Warner.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed about not getting that.
Right on. Yeah. But so the way to get your name out there is tour, and shake people's hands and look them in the face and play music live, and we're cool with that. We're a live band. It's one of our favorite things to do is play live, and we pride ourselves on being a really good live band. And if you play, and you're any good, people will start to notice.
Definitely. So I think I heard rumor about a European tour.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about it?
Well, we were supposed to go in February, and all that crazy stuff happened in Europe, and so it kind of got put on the back burner. We've been trying to get into Europe for, I don't know why, booking agents and we're like, that was our main concern. It's like, let's go to Europe. Whatever happens, we can always come home to the States and tour, but let's go to Europe. The rock scene is totally different. And so we're in the works on getting to Europe. At least we're trying to set it up like, every 2 or 3 months, 3 or 4 months that we're heading overseas. Our album's done really well over there. The big major magazines, Metal Hammer and all that stuff, gave us like number 7 album of the year, and
really,
really cool stuff like that. So I mean, we're gonna get a boat. We're gonna buy our own boat, and we're just gonna go.
Buy a used boat.
Yeah, buy a used boat, some paddles, and just get enough gear, and we're heading over.
If you had top 3 places that you want to play in Europe,
Germany, and Germany.
You
buy hookers in Germany. Not that I would ever do something like that, but you can, which is pretty awesome.
Blame it on Sean.
Yeah, Sean would probably if we lost Sean, we would know where to find him. I think Amsterdam would be cool. I don't know. I'm dying to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
The UK would be awesome. I've been to Scotland. My mother's Scottish, so I've been there, but never old enough to do any of the bad stuff. You know what I mean?
I thought they started drinking when they were like 4.
If you could see over the bar, I forget how old I was. I was 11 or 12, and my brother was 14, and they served my brother in the bar. Didn't care. They didn't serve me. They knew I was a little young. But just anywhere in Europe, the rock scene's totally different. And I mean, I got friends that are there. All my friends in the military that were stationed in Germany said it's amazing, and the festivals are crazy, and the people are cool, and it's just, for rock and roll, that's where it's at. Like the Midwest in the United States is like the Europe of the United States, and out in Wisconsin and Iowa and Ohio and stuff like that, there's still great radio stations, and rock and roll never died here. And you know, you get up into Flint, Michigan, and places like that where rock's still relevant and awesome. But it's coming back around. I'm seeing the stations opening back up. The ones that turned into classic rock stations are kind of regretting their decision and moving on back toward the active rock thing and the rock and roll thing. So, you know, music always does that. The 20-year cycles, country music's on top right now, and it's going to start to eat itself, and rock's going to come back, and I'll be ready. Yeah.
Hopefully pop eats itself a little bit.
It always eats itself. That's the best pop.
So if you had to kick the ass of one member in the band, who would it be?
Jimmy. He's young. He's young. He's tall, and I think I'd kick his ass. I'm not sure.
But the skinny ones fight to the bone.
I'm not sure. If I had to kick anybody's ass in the band, I'd probably kick my own ass. My own ass needs kicked quite a bit.
Yeah.
These days. But yeah, Jimmy, he's young. I'm gonna beat him up, I think. You never know. Might get that long arm far away.
Right. Yeah, he's got reach, man.
He does. I've seen him play basketball, though. I think I can take him.
So, what do you guys have going on in the next 3 months? What's your schedule look like?
We're heading out on tour on the Round 2 Records tour with Artifice, Bridge to Grace, and Beer Union for like a month, and then we head out with El Nino after that. Then we're going to do a headlining run. Just busy. This single, Spider in the Dark's at radio now. It's doing really well. It's moving up the charts. And then we probably release 2 more singles off this album, tour end of the year, beginning of next year, and start another record. Try to write the record in the wintertime. Tour when you don't have to go through the Rockies, right. When it's treacherously when it's horrible. So yeah, that's the plan. Probably release 2 more videos, 2 more singles, start writing a new record.
You know, I was thinking about that. Why there's been a lack of really good rock shows in Columbus in the last month and a half, 2 months, and I was like, you know, either Rock on the Range is coming. Well, you can't play in around the states for the 3 months before and after. Is that how it works?
Yeah, the zoning laws. We were just talking about that. Unfortunately, we're not on Rock on the Range. So
why not?
I don't know.
When are you going to be there again?
Hopefully this single takes off, and when the last 2 times that we did Rock on the Range, our singles were doing really well, and the guy that ran Rock on the Range was like, we have to have you.
Right.
And then had a couple years where our singles did okay. You know what I mean? Glad You're Dead was like our biggest single that we ever had, and so this one it's got a lot of promise, a lot of heat behind it. So hopefully next year they ask us, and we would love to. It was one of the best experiences of my life, and just seeing all the bands and 70,000 people in one place is pretty breathtaking.
I've seen everybody's seen the shots from behind the drum kit, looking out over Rock on the Range, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Is it? You think Rock on the Range is the biggest festival?
It's the biggest festival in the United States. The same guy does a couple, like Carolina
Danny.
Rebellion. Yeah, Danny does like Carolina Rebellion and a couple other festivals around. The one in Chicago, the new one.
Open Air. Rammstein's headlining. I've already applied for that one.
Me too. I've already put my name in the hat. Please let us play.
Right.
But yeah, so the festivals, I mean, you hear the rock's dead, and it's like, look at Rock on the Range. It's far from dead. It's huge. And people come from all over, and those festivals are starting to pop up all over the country again, and I'm happy. I mean, it's like you get 70,000 people in a place screaming your song back at you, and I mean, that doesn't look dead to me.
Right. Yeah. So if you guys had a $1 million budget, what would your stage show look like?
I would have a nice area rug, bunch of lights, and then I would keep the rest of the money.
That's a fucking fair answer.
I have a nice area rug for me to stand on, some decent light show, nice backdrop, and then the rest would go into my pocket.
Works. Hopefully you share a little bit. Not with me, the other guy.
Yeah. Well, our pocket. My pocket is our pocket.
Right. Yeah.
They always got their little hands in it.
So you said you got 2 more singles coming out. That'll be my last question. Can you tell us what the singles are, or the secret?
You Don't Want to Know is a good song. That is the actual name of the single. I'm not saying that You Don't Want to Know the name of the single. You Don't Want to Know, Spider in the Dark and You Don't Want to Know, we did testing, and they tested exactly the same. You know, how you have 300 people listen to it.
Right.
And you pay for all that fun stuff and label stuff. And, so they tested the same and tested really high. So we know that, you know, if Spider in the Dark does well, we have a single that coming up after that's going to be just as good and hit just as hard. And then we're probably going to do Turn Me On, which is an acoustic jam,
Right.
which is kind of tricky when you're going to radio with acoustic songs.
Right.
But if we can soften them up with 2 singles that did really well, we might be able to sneak that one in. And that one tested through the roof, the highest that we'd ever tested any song ever.
Right.
So
Really?
if we can sneak that in, who knows? We might be on a jet plane next year. It'd be great.
Hell yeah. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I've got. I mean, I could ask a million more, but you guys got to get ready for your show.
Absolutely.